Behind Smith. Here comes Poole behind his back. The dish to Kaminga for the dunk.
Okay, listen, I don't know why many people aren't talking about it, but Jonathan Kuminga is really a special. Hold on. So the Golden State Warriors are a team that are usually on top of the conference and are feared by many, but right now it's like we're seeing the league just fight back as the Warriors have been truly struggling on the road. Now, is this to say we need to write off the Warriors and say their time is over? Nah, not at all. But through all the struggles they've been having, there's been a bright light shining, and that is Jonathan Kuminga. From throwing down fanatic dunks, knocking down the 3-ball, to then also being a solid switch defender, Kaminga can step on the hardwood and provide a ton of value. When you see a player who is super athletic and can play above the rim, you would usually think that they might not be able to space the floor very well with their 3-point shooting, but with Kaminga, you get the total opposite. JK can finish at the rim with relentless aggression, and then if you leave him open on the perimeter, he can also make you pay. Now, if you're not familiar with Kaminga's game by now, then by the end of this video, you will certainly know a lot more. But for everyone who has been watching Kaminga and monitoring the Golden State Warriors, how would you feel about Kaminga getting moved to the starting lineup? Now, lots of people will say yes, do it, as he has shown the value he can provide not only offensively but defensively as well, and then through all the mistakes he does make, he cleans it up and makes up for it. But then you have some people who could argue that when he did get to starting games, he was sometimes getting to that foul trouble, causing him to check out the game early, and also that right now coming off the bench he's in his groove, so why even bother it? Between these two, what do you think should happen with Kaminga's role? I'm honestly not sure if a 3-guard starting lineup is the best thing, but maybe that's why I'm not a coach. It just seems to me that if you insert Kaminga into this starting lineup, he can provide a major lift on the defensive end and can also be another connector on the offensive end, but hey, who knows? Fitting into an offensive system can sometimes be extremely difficult, and when you're a young guy in the league on a team who's looking to compete for a championship, finding your role can be that much harder as you don't have tons of room for error. With Kaminga, he knows how to pick his spots within the offense to make himself available, and when receiving the pass, he makes the most of his chances. At just 20 years old, JK knows how to use his 6'7", 6'8" frame to his advantage, and when you pair that with his great athleticism, it makes him a punisher inside. When watching him, you can see he has this water-like fluidness to his game, but trust and believe that if you meet him at the rim, he can crush a dunk on you with some major power. Not only does Kaminga have those qualities, but he also has a certain awareness when on the floor, and this isn't something we see from a lot of young players in the league. With this Warriors offense in constant motion and smooth ball movement around the floor, you have to be able to adjust to things quickly, place yourself in spots that don't mess up the flow of the offense, and then if presented the opportunity, you need to make the right play. Like when Curry is running his patented pick and rolls, although Kaminga isn't involved in this play directly, after Curry gets it back from Draymond on this handoff, Green sets his ghost screen, and as Giddey slides over to stop Draymond on the roll, Kaminga rushes into the lane from the backside and dunks it home despite the foul. You can see it again as Kaminga and Moody switch places. Instead of hanging out on the 3-point line, Kaminga cuts right as Westbrook dives for the help, and it's an easy throwdown to put 2 on the board. On all cutting layups and dunks combined for the season, Kaminga has converted 86% of his 56 field goal attempts, just showing how comfortable he is when moving into the gaps without the ball, and then making the defense pay when getting inside. Playing with a point guard like Curry, whose gravity is second to none, fits so well with Kaminga's game because with the athleticism and slashes to the rim without the ball, it grants him easier looks, and let's be honest, who doesn't like to see these explosive slams from Kaminga off the Curry feed? The Warriors could honestly run these high pick and roll actions all day, and with Curry being such a high threat, it leaves Draymond open on rolls a lot of the time, and with Kaminga being an aggressive cutter, it connects right with Green's passing, and it looks like poetry in motion. Even if you're to switch it up and use Curry as the initial screener to get Draymond open, well here you can see both defenders lunge out to Kaminga as he goes to screen for Steph, and JK flies right in receiving the pass from Green and gets yet another easy slam. Pairing this movement with Steph's gravity in the Warriors system is super destructive because Steph and Draymond are both great at finding their guys, and Kaminga makes the job that much easier by always being on the move. Now when you analyze a very athletic player who likes to move to the paint with tenacity, a lot of guys can tend to rush the finish and depend on their athletic abilities to combat the defense, but with Kaminga, I've been seeing the flashes of patience around the rim that's needed to be an elite finisher. As Kaminga is located in this area I like to personally call the drop zone, watch as he calls for the lob here, but instead of getting it, DiVincenzo dumps it off instead, and being patient, Kaminga feeds the up fake to get the Chua in the air, takes that power dribble, and finishes the bucket. The fact that Kaminga is already adjusting to the pace of the game is a great sign to see for Warriors fans, and this patience is not only going to be key to his game overall, but especially when getting into the playoff. It even leaks into his facilitating as well, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Kaminga is some terrific facilitator or anything, but this is a slight flash of what we could see from him in the future. On this play, he takes his time and bullies the smaller Hardy into the paint, and as Wood steps deeper into the paint, Kuminga just slings it right over to the corner for the layup 3. Showing his potential even more, JK brings it up on this play, stays composed with the handle, and once Klay beats Murray on the back door, Kuminga puts it on the money for the easy finish. Honestly, Kaminga just looks like a glue piece out there right now, being in the right spots at the right times, and he's starting to make the right reads as well. But just when you think that's all he has to offer offensively, well, here comes the potential floor spacing Kuminga possesses, and if we look at his conversion rates from deep since All-Star break, Kuminga is connecting on 44% of his 2 attempts per game, and this is huge for the Dubs. This right here is exactly what I mean. When teams play this lackluster defense daring Kuminga to shoot, he can pull up with confidence and knock it down. And then other times when the ball is just in movement around the court, once found wide open, Kuminga doesn't have to drive the ball, but instead he can let it fly. As Kuminga becomes more dependable from deep, this will space the floor for the Dubs and will open up more opportunities for him and his teammates to operate within the offense. Now, will Kuminga ever be an amazing shooter? In my humble opinion, I don't think so, but honestly, he doesn't really need to be. If you see the way Draymond operates on the floor, his 3-point shooting isn't so great as he's a 31% shooter on his career, but it's like at the right times, Draymond will drop in a 3 and leave the defense astounded. For Kuminga, I see this exact role being presented to him. He's able to float around the offense, scan where the openings are, and just by using his raw instincts, Kuminga can create something for himself or the team, and as his playing time increases, we're only going to see this aspect of his game improve even more. What makes everything we've talked about so scary is the fact that this is all offensive focused abilities, but when you flip it to the other end, JK is an outstanding defender. Usually we wouldn't be talking about a second-year player being a defensive anchor for a championship team, but Kuminga truly uplifts him on the defensive end. When you pair his length, speed, and strength together, it makes him extremely tough to get past, in turn making Kuminga one of the best point of attack defenders on the Warriors. I mean, just the other night, JK was out there hounding Luka Doncic, and this tenacious defense led to Doncic going 11 for 27 on the night, taking him right out of his game. On a nightly basis, when Steve Kerr throws the growing Kuminga out there on the floor, he doesn't just throw him on the hardwood, he throws him in the fire. When JK's out there, more times than not, he's guarding the opposing team's best player, and he does a great job at slowing them down at the least. This amount of defensive value is very hard to replicate, and Kuminga is just now really tapping into his potential. I would say Andrew Wiggins is the upgraded version of Kuminga, but with Wiggins away from the team until further notice, JK looks like he could step right in and fill that role. This Warriors team still has many pieces, and for people to write them off of getting another ring is really quite crazy. I think they can make a deep playoff push if they have the full roster ready to go, but hey, the West is very competitive right now, so I guess we will wait and see. Kaminga is a special young player who is destined to be a star, and I'm excited to see how things progress for him and the Warriors going forward. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like before heading over to watch this De'Aaron Fox analysis. I thank you all for your support, and I'll see you in the next video.